Radha Hedges.
Ages.
Haven't seen you for ages.
Hello, everybody. Seems like such a long time. It's like, wow, but it's only been 2 days.
2 days only.
It seems like an eternity. We've missed you. So today we're making some cheese and herb scones. Hello, everybody. I'm Matthew Jones. I'm the baker, the owner, the founder of. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon. Here it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Herb and cheese scones. I was actually just round at the neighbour's house. The neighbour's place, not a house, got turnips in Borough Market, and we've got some wild garlic. So that's just sort of coming to the end of its season now, wild garlic. But yeah, lovely. That goes really well with a bit of cheddar. So cheddar cheese, wild garlic, delicious flavours. If you haven't got wild garlic, you can use some parsley, some any green herbs really chopped up into it. So this is a real simple recipe. It's 250 grams of self-raising flour. If you haven't got self-raising, you can use any white flour. You just want to add in an extra teaspoon of baking powder. 40 grams of unsalted butter, 3 grams salt, 3 grams sugar. So just a little bit of salt and a little bit of sugar. Yeah, very low sugar, which is nice. Baking powder, buttermilk. Now, if you haven't got buttermilk, you can just use milk. It'll be absolutely fine. Yeah, that's going to be no problem. 100 grams of cheddar. To be honest, I would actually be tempted to put even more in there. I'd go for 150, really put plenty. You know, you want a load of cheddar in there. Then some chopped herbs, and we've got an egg that goes in there as well. And you need to keep a little bit of the egg back, because you're going to use some of it to brush on top of the scones before they bake in the oven.
So how many scones?
I made a little batch earlier, and it made 5 sort of quite big ones. Depends on the size of your cutter. So I used this cutter. Where is it? Put it around somewhere. Yeah. I used that cutter. It's quite a big cutter. That's 8 centimetres, and that made me 5 scones. A little bit smaller, and you'll get 6, you know, kind of thing. But yeah, that's kind of where we are. So,
can we leave eggs out?
Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can leave the egg out. Just put a bit more, put a little bit more buttermilk in there.
Okay.
Okay,
so
let's do it.
Let's start.
Do it, everybody. Let's just do it. It's a quick one.
Snacking.
So I guess quite like you'll be baking along with us, with me. Which is always a really nice thing to do. I think it's nice when we do this as a sort of a live experience.
And if we don't have baking powder, is that the end of the world?
Yeah, it's going to be a bit heavy. Yeah.
If you don't have a cutter, use a glass or a cup or wherever, something round.
No. Be creative.
Be creative. Yeah.
Or just go around and use a spoon, you know, or chop it, just cut it into 4 bits.
Glasses would work very nicely.
Yeah, just be a little bit careful. 250 grams of self-raising flour, 3 grams of salt, 3 grams of sugar. So 3 grams of salt, it's just a large pinch, like that. 3 grams of sugar, a large pinch, like that. Not too much, you don't need much sugar in there. You don't need any at all if you don't want it. 40 grams of butter that I cubed up, and it's just quite soft, that butter.
Unsalted.
Yeah, unsalted. And the teaspoon of baking powder. A nice teaspoon of baking powder in there, like a level teaspoon of baking powder. In he goes. And quite simply, you just crumb those ingredients together. So you don't put the liquid in yet, you hold that back right to the end. Okay.
How was your holiday, little holiday, Matthew?
My holiday, yeah, when just, you know, so relaxing, you know. Went all over, went to Wembley, went to, what else did we do?
Packing books.
Books, unpacked our microscope, all sorts of things really. A bit of cleaning, quite a lot of cleaning.
meeting your fans,
Yeah.
Alex,
Yeah,
yesterday.
we met that family of Alex. Yeah, it was lovely, you know. So,
Alex, his brother Oliver, and his mom Magda.
oh, okay. Yeah. Creating new bakers. That's what we do at Bread Ahead. We make bakers. We don't only make bread, we make bakers as well. Because you're not going to have any bread if you don't have any bakers, you see. Okay. Look, I've crumbed my ingredients very efficiently there. There they are, crumbed. Now, let's add in the butter. The
Cheese.
cheese. Now I've diced mine up into nice little cubes. So those cubes are about 1.5 centimetres square, let's say, just over a centimetre. You want them quite chunky because basically when your scones cook, you want to have these little pockets of cheese in there, you know, you want to have these little pools of melting cheese. So if you grated your cheese, what's going to happen? It will just sort of dissolve into it and you won't really know it's there. So when you bite into the scone like this, you're going to have those pockets of cheese in it and you bite in and you go, oh yeah, that's nice, a bit of cheese there, you know. Delicious. I'm going to go for, 100 looks like that. It looks a little bit mean, to be honest, today. So I'm feeling a bit more generous. I'm going to go for 150. 100's going to be fine, but always good to be generous with cheese. Okay, that goes in there on top of the crumb mix. And then you get a nice big bunch of wild garlic or parsley or any green herbs, to be honest.
What other herbs?
Oh, parsley, tarragon, thyme, basil, bit of rosemary, some chives would be very nice.
So anything you have.
Yeah. Take the leafy part.
Who can cut like Matthew? I couldn't. I would cut my fingernails.
Well, you can do it what you like, you know. I wonder how many hours I've spent actually doing exactly that. Probably the equivalent of a couple of months. You just chop it up nice and rough like that. And that goes on top. So you've got the crumbled mix, you've got the cheese in there, you've got the herbs in there. Loads of it, you know, really generous with the herbs. I'll tell you what's nice as well is spring onion. You can use spring onions in that, it's lovely. Okay? And then we're going to prepare our liquid. So in this little container here, I've got 100 grams of buttermilk. I'm then going to put 1 egg in there. So we weigh egg at Bread Ahead, it's just more convenient. So I'm going to put 50 egg in there, 50 grams. Okay, oops. Yep. So, you've got your crumbled mix with your herbs and your cheese in there. You've got your liquid mix there. That just goes directly on top, all of it. Don't hold back. And then I get my little spatula. I nearly knocked over that mix then, didn't I? Went all over the place. Embarrassing. And I just use these little scrapers are very useful. See the way I'm just turning it like that? Just really gently. Because the golden rule of making scones is you don't want to overwork the mix, you want to be really gentle with it. Okay? Just like that. Just bring it together, literally. So keep working it as little as possible. Okay, see the way that's just come together? Mm-hmm. And then you kind of stop mixing. Okay, then I'm just going to get a little bit more flour on the table, but a real small amount like that. A little light dusting. Tip it out. Okay, and now just give it a gentle knead, just like that. Just very gently. Now here's the little trick for scones. So what you want to do is knead it So you're creating a nice smooth surface there. You turn it over and that becomes your top. Okay. With a little one like this, I mean, I'd use a rolling pin for a bigger mix, but for a little one like this, you can actually just sort of pat it flat with your hand. Just like that. Move it around on the table so you've got a nice, it's not sticking to the table. And that's the kind of thickness we're after. We're looking at, on a measure, about 1.5 centimetres to 2 centimetres thickness.
Okay.
So to give you an indication of the size, that's the whole mix, and I've rolled that out to 20 centimetres round. It's always useful to measure things really on, because it's difficult to gauge size on an iPhone. I then take a bit of baking parchment paper and my cutter. Now, with cutting, this is something I've always been really fussy about. You really just try and get the maximum you can out of your... So you really pinch them nice and tight together when you're cutting, yeah? So look, get another one there, like that, yeah? And then I'll get another one, I'll try and get, a minimum of 4 out of this. I don't think I'll get 5 from this cup. There we go. Now, there we go. Now what I would do with this, you don't want to overwork it. So what you do is just get these pieces here and sort of lay them on top of each other. Like that, like that. And then once again, just squash that down. You know, honestly, you don't need to use a rolling pin for this. You just do it with your hand, like the flat of your hand, like that. There we go. There's another one there.
We have 5.
Let's see if we can get 6.
Yeah, we can.
That last bit there, I'm just going to give it a little knead.
I personally would prefer smaller ones.
Petite.
Petite.
You're always telling me to make them smaller, Eric.
Yeah, I like...
Eric would like little tiny mini versions.
Yeah.
Of them. Like pan au chocolat, I have to make these ones like they're so small. They barely...
I always laugh at Matthew. Pain au chocolat, no, pain au raisin looks like pancakes.
Yeah. And that's the last little bit. There we go. Look, you can bake that. You know, it's fine. You know, there's nothing. Just because it's not a perfect shape, it'll still be a perfectly acceptable little scone. There we go.
Ooh, yummy, yummy.
I managed to get 7 out of that one. I think my previous ones were a bit thicker. Okay, now a little bit of egg for the top. You don't need much, probably about 1/4 of an egg.
Is this the whole egg?
Yeah, a whole egg, and I just brush the top only.
What does it do to our scone?
Just gives it a nice colour.
Scone. This is how they say in Scotland. Scone, yeah?
Scone.
Scone. Jones.
Mr. Jones.
Mr. Jones. Welcome to Scotland.
There we go. Okay. Now, you do really want to wait a little while before baking them, ideally, so it's 15-20 minutes. I'm going to put these straight in the oven so we can see them.
Okay, and the baking time?
Okay, I put my oven up a bit. I've done 200. In our ebook, we've got 190. So between 190 and 200, and you want around 15 minutes. So I'll put these on for 13 and see how we go.
Okay.
Okay. 13 minutes. I reckon that'll be just about beautiful.
13 minutes.
Yeah, 13.
1-3.
That will be good. That was nice and simple, wasn't it?
Very simple.
So really easy. So let me have a little tidy up and then we can run over it again just to go over all the little details of that.
Wash as you go. Clean as you go.
Yeah, just tidy up always. Always work as you go. If you're doing things, just wash up straight away. It's quicker in the long run. You don't notice you're doing it.
Alexander, yesterday the boy you met, he's online, I see.
Excellent.
Excellent.
First job you want to be doing is cleaning. Cleaning, cleaning, and cleaning. You never spend too much time cleaning in the bakery, you know. Nobody's ever going to tell you off for cleaning too much. They're never going to tell you to stop. When I had my first job in Thackeray's house, when I was a chef there, I was like 15, I used to go in on my days off and just start cleaning things. And it was like on Sunday when the restaurant was closed. And one day, the head chef came in and he said, "Why are you here? What are you doing? Why are you in?" And I said, "I'm cleaning, chef, cleaning." He was like, "Okay, fine."
Can we use dried herbs?
Yeah, you can. You can use some herb de Provence. You can use some bit of rub thyme. Yeah, lovely. Yeah, well, I mean, you know, if you've got fresh ones, the best. Wild garlic's really nice when it's in season. You know, it's a special thing. Yeah, dried are good. Yeah, but fresh really have that lovely flavour, and of course the colour. You know, they really. What's so nice about fresh herbs is they have that lovely vibrancy to them. So,
can we use plain yogurt instead of buttermilk?
Yeah, plain yogurt works lovely. Yeah, works
Lovely.
lovely. Yeah, plain yogurt, delicious.
So, any announcements to make?
Yeah, what we got? So this week we have got on our IG Live tutorials today cheese and scone herby croissants.
Scones.
Cheese. God, I haven't done this for 2 days. I've lost my rhythm. Herb and cheese scones today. Tomorrow we're doing a lovely flapjack. It's a really, really good one. Really gooey and syrupy, absolutely delicious, buttery and like. Yeah, it's good. Friday we're doing a pound cake, and I've got a little trick with a pound cake. So it's not just a pound cake. There's a way of doing it, a way of mixing it, and that way you're ensured to get that nice little peak in the middle where it sort of splits open. There's a trick.
So, what is pound cake? Is it English, British? Or?
Pound cake, yeah, is a very standard cake where it's equal parts. So butter and sugar first, and then egg and flour. So basically, very like for example, 1 pound of each. So a pound of butter, a pound of sugar. You know, very simple standard recipe for making a cake. It's a good one to know as a baker because from that you can do a load of other things. So it's really good to understand those basic principles of making a pound cake because the ratios are where you want to be. So you'll know that, you know, it's a bit like bread making, you know that your water content is going to be around 65%. With the pound cake and sponges, you know that you're going to be 25% sugar, butter, flour, egg. So a quarter of each one by volume, by weight. Yeah. So Saturday we're making our focaccia that we'll do with some rosemary, sea salt. It's absolutely delicious.
Are we doing lazy method or?
Doing lazy focaccia. Yeah,
focaccia, lazy method.
New one I've discovered, lockdown focaccia. I've learned a lot in lockdown, I tell you. It's been phenomenal.
I will love it.
Yeah, it's better. It's a better process. It's easier. It's less messy. It's just so much better. The lazy focaccia. We're also doing on Sunday, this is a really good one, the chocolate and hazelnut cookie. Boom. Really lovely. And then we're going to move through into June's schedule, and we have got some treats. We have unleashed like a box of delight.